Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, back with some breaking news. Breaking news, I'm sure most of you already heard. I saw this earlier today. I was just kind of busy, but I said, let me come on through, drop a video on y'all, give you my quick thoughts, because, I know some people already hit me up. They want to know what I think about this. But yeah, man, Amanda Nunes, after 8 years, is leaving ATT. That's right, she's leaving the American Top Team to build her own gym. That's right, she's starting her own camp. Right after that loss from Juliana Pena, a month ago. She's leaving ATT. She's going to start her own training camp. That's right. Let me pull up this article. I saw this one on this Combate article. It actually needs to be translated, so let me pull up the translation here. Bear with me if the text sounds a little off, but it shouldn't. Let me see here. So, yeah, the translation from Combate, I'll put the article in the description box, too, so y'all can pull it up and read it. But let me read through this, and then I'll give you my quick thoughts. Here we go. So it says, a month after losing the UFC bantamweight belt to Juliana Pena, and what is the only defeat for the Brazilian fighter while on the Florida team, Nunes is leaving. According to Combate, with sources close to the fighter, Nunes should found her own team still in Florida. She lost her bantamweight belt, but is still the featherweight champion. Nunes' wife, Nina Ansaroff, continues with her in her new plans. All right, so this is her only loss with ATT. The Juliana Pena fight, ever since and leading up to that fight, she was undefeated, but after facing that loss, she decided to leave ATT, and now she's going to venture off and start her own camp in Florida. And, of course, Nina Ansaroff is going to follow suit with her because that's her wife, right? She's going to leave with her, So, yeah, of course, she's still the bantamweight champion, like they said, but, yeah, she's going to move on and start her own gym. Now, when I first heard this, I wasn't really shocked because I've seen this time and time again, even following boxing for many years. I've seen this before, even MMA, sometimes when a fighter, they face that devastating loss, they feel like it's time to jump camp sometime. You know what I mean? In some cases, they do that whenever they kind of play that blame game. Whenever a fighter loses, they think it might be the team, so they just say, oh, I'm leaving. I'm leaving, y'all the reason I lost this fight, right? So this could very well be that type of situation, or it could just be Amanda Nunes saying, hey, I've learned everything I could at ATT. They didn't really show me anything different. It's time for me to get out of my comfort zone, right? So after 8 years, well, first off, as y'all know, she joined ATT right after the Kat Zingano loss, which was back in 2014. Yeah, so about 8 years ago now. Yeah, she's been with him ever since that loss. She left her first camp after losing to Kat Zingano, went to ATT. Now she's kind of doing the same thing, after losing to Juliana Pena, she's going to leave her team, and she's going to start her own team this time. Now, there's kind of a good thing and a bad thing to that. I'll kind of go over the bad thing first because, like I said, leaving in the midst of a big rematch coming up, it could be bad just because it kind of seems like she might be at a point where she's thinking it's the team. She thinks it's the team that didn't really do anything or benefit her. But to me, at this point of her career, it should be on the fighter to know what type of adjustments to make, and it should be kind of second nature to them to even go into a fight with Juliana Pena and say, I know what I need to do at this point. It's just like the gym is there to kind of motivate you and kind of give you that fire that you need at times, and maybe just polish you up here and there. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need to rebuild you or remold you every single fight. They just need to kind of craft your style until you're close to that perfect fighter that you need to be, right? So I don't really think it's the team's fault, right now for her to have to change over, because it was on Amanda Nunes the first time. She said it in the press conference. She said, I've seen this style time and time again. I've seen this style of Miesha Tate. I beat Miesha Tate, and your style is like Miesha Tate, right? So with her saying that makes it say, okay, she's confident. She has it in her own hands to say, okay, I made my decision on how to beat you because I've seen it before, right? So it can't really be the team that made her think that way. That's how she thought. She didn't have the solid training camp, went through a rough weight cut, after being out of the bantamweight division for 2 years, having defended her belt in 2 years, then coming back and dropping down the weight, that was rough on her. And she just kind of took everything in their own hands. Her and Nina, they were kind of controlling. It wasn't really the team. So I think the team is fine to me from this, just looking from this side, on this side. I think that it was more so the fighter in this case. You know what I mean? Because if Juliana Pena was that easy, it should have been on her to come up with that game plan. So wherever she goes, if she continues to take this mind state with her, the outcome is always going to be the same, especially during this transition with the rematch coming up with Juliana Pena. You know, is it good to make this big of a change instead of just making these subtle changes? Kind of like Zhang Wei Li. We saw with Zhang Wei Li, you know, adding Henry Cejudo to her camp leading up to this Rose Namajunas rematch. I don't think that many big changes should have been made with Zhang Wei Li. It should have just been, you know, polishing up those small things like defense and not fighting on the outside with a long striker like Rose Namajunas, right? Same can be said with this fight with Amanda Nunes. Really, I feel like Amanda Nunes kind of crumbled in this fight whenever she went to the ground and fought at Juliana Pena's pace. Like, Juliana Pena was getting hit with some big shots. She got dropped 2 times in the first round. And if Nunes just stuck to that power-based striking from a distance and just kept landing shots like that, she probably could have got the stoppage. But what did she do when she dropped Pena? She went to the ground with her and then went at that high-paced grappling and kind of gassed herself out, went into the second round and fought Pena's fight again. So if she would have just kind of made those subtle changes, even now, like if they just go back to ATT and say, okay, we just need to work on this and work on that, change up these little things, fight your pace and don't fight her fight, you should be good. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of like that. Like, it's going to be a big drastic change and the outcome might be the same. You know, it might go the distance this time, but you might still wind up losing because, you know, you're making such a big change trying to be a new fighter if she goes that route, right? But the good thing about her leaving ATT could be that she's trying to break the chain. Maybe she wants to break that comfort. Maybe she's been with ATT for 8 years, you know, and well, she has been with ATT for 8 years, but maybe she's feeling like she's too comfortable at this point. Maybe she just feels like everybody's just being a yes man now, saying they just kind of go through the motions, right? And maybe she felt like hey, she was a little bit too cocky for her own good, you know, too big for her own britches. So she said, hey, I need to leave this gym and bring out something new in me, kind of, you know, make things hard again so I can work and bring out that lioness again. You know what I mean? Because she's been going through the motions through the past few years, just, you know, dominating, beating everybody, 1-2 world titles. So it's been like, oh man, like, you can't tell me nothing, right? So maybe she wants to leave, go into a zone where she's uncomfortable and kind of go from there to kind of try to bring out those intangibles again and try to make those adjustments even in camp. You know, she wants to just start over and make it gritty again, you know, make it gritty and start from the bottom in a way. You know, maybe that's what she wants to do, but I don't know if it's really going to benefit her to start her own camp because, again, you know, if you start in your own training camp and maybe she's bringing in other people, I don't know, and they're going to lead her. But sometimes when you start in your own team, it's hard you're going to kind of set your standards again for how comfortable you are, you know, because your mind can only give you what you know, right? You still need somebody from outside that can see what you're doing wrong, and then they can come in and give you something that you didn't expect, right? They can give you something that is going to make you uncomfortable. You know, they're going to make you work that way. Kind of like how that's why I say, like, whenever Claudia Gadelha was doing that a while back, kind of training herself, you know, that you're only going to get so much out of training yourself because you're going to slow yourself. You're only going to go at the pace that you know. You know, you need somebody else to lead you and guide you and help you correct those mistakes and, again, make you uncomfortable. Because if that's her thing of trying to be uncomfortable again, she definitely needs somebody else to lead her team, right? So, yeah, that's just my quick thoughts as of right now. We'll talk more. I think it's going to be a big change. It's going to be a big shock on how she approaches this fight, even mentally, just from the outside looking in, because we've seen this before. You know, whenever fighters face that devastating loss, they want to change teams right away because they think it's the team. But is it really the team? Is it really the team? I don't know. That's the question. I think we all know who it is right now. Combo Breaker 99. Let me know your thoughts. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.